Hello class, and today we're going to look at creating a currency exchange rate app. So what this does, we're going to look at creating a segmented index, which is this thing I think you've seen on various iPhone or iPad models, and that will be able to change whatever the user inputs here into that exchange rate. We're going to be using if statements, selected segment indexes, and text fields, buttons, labels, and we're going to look at formatting as well. So let's get started. We're going to create a new file project. Which we're going to call app12 and your ID. And we're going to head over to our main.storyboard. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and start customizing my background. I'm going to go into the utilities pane and head over to the settings. To the background, we're going to put a light gray color, maybe even lighter, something like this, and start putting in our objects. So first of all, I'm going to need a text field. The user will input the amount of pesos they want to exchange. I'm going to need a button to convert whatever the user inputs. I'm going to need a segmented control, which is the thing I was talking about earlier. And I'm going to require a label to display my currency. Great. We're gonna start changing this label. I'm gonna make it something like bold and way bigger, maybe a 30. Okay. Maybe change the color to something a little bit grayish, not that much. Dark gray color, that's perfect. And make my label way bigger and centered. Since I can start by putting something like 00, so the user can see this, and adding my exchange rates. If we go to the utilities pane, when clicking on the segmented control, we can see that we can add multiple segments on the upper right corner. We're going to add 4. First one being dollars. Next, we're going to exchange euro. Whoops. Pounds. And Japanese yens. We can also customize our segment index by changing its tint. I'm going to put a dark gray color. We can add a placeholder for our text. We're going to put here MXN pesos. And maybe ask the user to put it here. Great. And our button, which is we're going to call calculate. We're going to change the text to something maybe white and a background of dark gray as well. Okay, that looks professional enough. Great. I can even get even more fancier in adding the symbols for my dollars, euros, pounds, and yens. We can do that by going online and just searching for the different symbols here. Let's go to USD, US dollars. Well, we know that one. So this is just dollars. We'll look for euro. This is a euro sign. Let's look for pounds. Pound sign here. Whoops. And lastly, Japanese yen. So our app should look really professionally looking. Great. Next up, we're going to start creating our connections. We're going to open up our code. Again, delete this for now. We're not going to use it. And start connecting. First, our label, which we're going to call label currency as an outlet. Our segmented index, we're going to call maybe seg currency connect. Our text field called text pesos. And finally our button, which we can call button calculate. And as you know, buttons are action and UI button. Great. Let's move on into the code. So since we're gonna give the user the three if statements, one if they're using a dollars, another if they're using euros, pounds, and then yens. What we can do then is create one if and add three else ifs. So since when we use if and else as a statement, we can only add two conditions, the first if and the else. Using else if, we can add multiple conditions. And in this case, we're going to add 4. So starting with my button calculate, I'm going to start adding my first constant, which is, I'm going to call it peso, which is, I'm going to create the double of whatever the user inputs in text pesos. And that's it. So whatever the user inputted here, I'm just going to change it to pesos. I forgot to put the text here. Great. Next up, I'm going to start with my if. If my seg currency dot segmented select segmented index. There we go. We get a little help from Xcode. So what we're referencing here is the name and then the property. The property is it's a selected segment index. If that is equal to, and when we're looking at arrays, well, we're looking at a segmented index. The first index is going to be 0, then 1, then 2, and so on and so forth. So the first one, dollars, would be 0. If the user clicked dollars, which is 0, then what we're going to do, we're going to open our brackets, and we're going to create a constant called dollars, and in this constant we're going to convert whatever we had in our pesos divided by the exchange rate. So peso divided by, let's say, 1880. I can also check my currency by going online, USD, and look at today's exchange rates. So 1916 actually. 16. Great. So what am I missing here? Since dollars is gonna be a double, we have to convert this whole thing into a double. So just to make sure that we're using the same formatting. So this is going to be a double. All this, the result. Perfect. And the last thing we're going to do, we're going to change this label to display whatever we have in dollars. So we're just going to change label currency dot text will be equal to dollars. However, I want to show the $ in front, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some parentheses on dollars, put our $, and then put a forward slash. And what this does is you're going to add, oh, I forgot to add our quotes here. What it does is we start a string here, and this is a string as well, and here we escape the string so we can add a variable here, which is $, and then close the string once more. So it will display whatever the constant $ is, displaying a money sign in front. So we can start just copying and pasting these for the next currencies. So my next currency, so if this is the end of my if, my next one will be an else if. We open up the brackets, click enter, a new bracket is created. So my first one, we created this whole thing inside these two brackets, this first one and the second one, and now we're going to do the next currency. We can just copy and paste. Else if, and if this is equal to 1, then what we're going to do, well, this is actually incorrect. We have to delete these two brackets. Else if seg currency equals 1, then we open the parentheses, the brackets, sorry. Now, if it's equal to 1, which is euros, then what's going to happen? So it's going to be the same thing, however, we're just going to use euros. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, change my constant dollars to euros, double of, let me check the exchange rates. And divided by 22.10. And instead of dollars, we're going to put euros here. Really important. Perfect. So after that, we close our else, and we can add another else if. Boom. And we have to change it to number 2, which is pounds. Change the name of my constant to pounds, and change my result to pounds. Finally, the last one, it's going to be 3, which is yens, 0, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to change this constant to yens and this to yens as well. We just have to change the yen, Japanese yen, 0.1707. And for the Great British Pound, which is pound, the exchange rate is 25.31. Great. So let's run our code, see how it runs. And we're going to choose, since we're an iPhone 8, choose the iPhone 8 here. And go ahead and click run. Just close the simulator. And it's building. And we get the emulator. So while that is loading up, let me give you a spoiler. What's going to happen? The app will work. However, since we're using doubles and we're making a division of peso to any number, and if the result, let's say dollars, has more than 2 decimal points, it will display infinite decimal points. And because we're creating a really beautiful app, we want it to display just 2 decimal points as currencies are displayed normally. So let me just wait a little bit more till it loads. There we go. For example, let's put 20 pesos and we want to calculate dollars. Oh, we get so many decimal points. And I just want the $1.04. The same for euros, pounds, and yens. We also forgot to change the symbol for our currencies. So let's edit those. First, we're going to go into euros. We can go ahead and just copy and paste this symbol in euros. Maybe add here USD. This is going to be your pound sterling. This is the pounds, and this is GBP, and yens is this symbol, yen. Great. However, we still have the decimal point problem. So why not just ask Google? Let's head over to Google, close this up, and maybe put Xcode formatting label currency. Okay, so we get this thing, struggling with NSF number. Let's open this one. Let's open this one as well. The first one, it's asking, to have just 2 decimal points as well. And he gives us a type of formatting here. Identifier. It depends here. He's dividing by. So this locale identifier, what it's saying is you want to show whatever ES, which is maybe Spain identifier, and this one is for another type of coin. So I'm not really sure, so I'm just gonna head over to the next one. We want to format our label the easiest way. So for example, this is converting it to a string. So I'm not really convinced with these. So let's put another thing. Xcode formatting label currency. And what else do I want? 2 decimal points. Let's try that. Close these up. So the person's asking, so tip amount, I believe this is their constant. Tip percentage, yeah, tip amount, exactly. They're also using a selected segment index as we did. Okay. And they're converting it to a string so they can show it in a label, and they're putting this thing, which I believe is just putting 2 decimal points. I don't know what the F stands for, but we can check it out. So we're gonna go back, and wherever we're printing our result, let's say here, which is a string, we can add a string in front, the same as before. And it says use format 2 points, format, colon, and we're going to add their format, which is, I don't want to display tip amount, I just want to display this, which is the format. Copy and paste it, and the format goes inside these quotes. Okay. After that, we get a comma, and we have to add another thing they have here. I was seeing format locale.current. No, I'm going to just try it with format and this thing. Let's see if it works. And I'm just going to keep this as dollars. Okay. since this is I'm sorry, let me just change this back up since I'm also learning this. This is yen and this is our currency. No, what we want to change is not what is displayed here, but the actual constant called dollars. So we're going to put it here, string. We're going to convert this double into a string and use putting a format here, 2 points, and we're going to put whatever we copy, which is this format, which is 2 decimal points, I believe, with the number sign in front, comma, the double of the peso. So let's try that. We're missing a parentheses here, and let's try it and just run it, see if dollars work. So what this is doing is letting dollars being equal to pesos divided by this thing to convert it. However, just this format part. Let's see how it works. While that is loading, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in front of all. If we have an error, we'll just change everyone. Okay. The next one, this one, string, adding the parentheses, string, adding the parentheses. Okay. I got no error, so I'm kind of confident this will work. Okay, I'm gonna put 20 as well, or whatever. Calculate, okay, I get 2 signs because I'm adding another symbol. I'm adding one symbol here for dollars and then adding it again once I display it. So that's my error, but I get 2 decimal points and that's perfect. So I'm just gonna change that. I'm gonna change this and keep the dollars. No, might as well just delete this dollar sign from all of these. And let's see if it works now. Because I was having 2 number signs, I just deleted it from the formatting part. Okay. I know in class we didn't look at formatting, but it just looks way more pretty once you use formatting. 2 decimal points. Awesome. So this is the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it.